Pollo al ajillo is a traditional dish known as tapas, found in the bars in Spain. The key ingredient of the dish is chicken flavoured in garlic sauce. The sauce is rich and full of flavour and is perfect for dipping some crusty bread in. This dish is easy to prepare since it requires very few ingredients. It's a perfect example of a one-pot meal. Take 500 grams of chicken pieces and season with salt and pepper, mixed together by hand. Heat 4 tablespoons of olive oil and throw in 9 garlic cloves. After a few minutes, add the chicken. Now just allow it to cook for a while, making sure to turn over your chicken during cooking. Continue to turn the chicken while cooking to crisp up the skin. This adds a great texture to the dish. Once the chicken is cooked, remove it from the pan. Tip 20 grams of garlic into the remaining oil and stir through so that it can cook. Then add 10 grams of flour to thicken. Add 100 milliliters of white wine, stir for a while, then add the chicken back into the pan. Pour over 250 milliliters of chicken stock. Grind in some more salt and stir everything through. Now time to cover and stew for 30 minutes. This will allow the sauce to thicken. Now it's time to serve up with some potatoes. Absolutely delicious. This is the only chicken teriyaki recipe you'll ever need, made with 3 simple ingredients. 500 grams of chicken, which you need to brown in a pan. Make sure you turn the meat as it cooks. This will make sure each side is browned, like this, and that the chicken is cooked through. It's very important to make sure white meat is properly cooked. Then add 30 milliliters of soy sauce. Wow, watch it bubble. And then 30 grams of brown sugar. Use a wooden spoon to mix everything together well. This recipe is perfect for when you're running low on supplies. Exactly what you'd want for dinner after a long day at work. Serve it up with some healthy steamed rice for a simple, tasty and filling dinner. Enjoy! A classic Italian dish, and you can learn how to make it. Throw 200 grams of flour, 1 teaspoon of yeast and 2 teaspoons of sugar into a large bowl and mix together gently with a spoon. Then pour in 200 milliliters of warm water and use your hands to stir through the dry ingredients. Now pour in 15 milliliters of olive oil and blend it into the mixture by hand to make your dough. Next, flour a clean board and put your ball of dough on top. Knead it repeatedly until you end up with a smooth ball of dough. Now use some olive oil to grease around the sides of a glass bowl, like so. Pop your dough ball inside and cover the bowl completely with cling film. Then leave it to sit for an hour. Meanwhile, pour 150 milliliters of tomato paste, half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of salt, 10 milliliters of olive oil, and some fresh basil into a new bowl. This will be the sauce for your pizza base. Pour olive oil onto a chopping board. Spread it out and place your dough on top. Stretch and roll it out into a large sausage shape, like this one. Then slice it in half down the middle. roll 1/2 of the dough into a new, smaller, smooth ball. Then you can carefully place it onto a clean pizza tray and press the dough down evenly to cover the whole surface. Prod the dough with a fork to assist with even cooking. Spread your tomato pizza sauce thickly over the surface of the pizza, making sure not to go too close to the edge. Then sprinkle some Italian mozzarella cheese over the tomato sauce. The amount depends on how cheesy you like your pizza. Then add a few leaves of basil on top. Drizzle over some olive oil, and then it's time for you to pop your pizza in the oven for 15 minutes at 200 degrees. When it's done, you'll have a fresh, homemade margherita pizza. Well done you! Super tasty! Butter chicken or mac and cheese? What would be your weekend meal? A combination of both sounds perfect, doesn't it? The classic Indian flavours of butter chicken paired with macaroni is the ultimate comfort meal. The ingredients needed for this are butter, chicken, onions, milk, butter chicken sauce, lots of mozzarella and cheddar cheese, and of course, macaroni. To begin, melt 10 grams of butter in a pan. Then stir 300 grams of chicken pieces until they have started to brown. Season with half a teaspoon of salt and of pepper, and continue to stir. When the chicken is cooked through, remove the meat from the pan, leaving as much of the remaining oil behind as possible. Throw in 20 grams of chopped onion and cook until softened. Then add 2 tablespoons of flour. Once combined, pour in 250 milliliters of milk and stir continuously until it starts to bubble. Then add 250 grams of butter chicken sauce and stir through. Once combined, melt 50 grams of mozzarella cheese and 50 grams of cheddar cheese into the sauce. Then add your cooked chicken back into the pan and stir everything through. And finally, 150 grams of macaroni shapes. This completes your special macaroni mixture. Put this mixture into a deep baking pot. Once the pot is full, coat with 100 grams of mixed grated cheese to create a crust. Then bake at 160 degrees for 20 minutes. When cooked, garnish with some fresh coriander. Just look at this gorgeous, hearty dish. If you've ever wondered how to make tacos that are as good as the ones from your local taqueria, then these delicious taco recipes are just what you need. These flavoursome tacos are easy to prep and perfect for a last-minute weekend party. Cooking Company will take you step by step into creating not 1, not 2, but 3 styles of tacos, from chicken to shrimp and steak. Mix 1 tablespoon of paprika, 2 tablespoons of oregano, 1 tablespoon of cumin, 2 teaspoons chili powder, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 tablespoons of olive oil together with 2 large chicken breasts in a bowl. Use gloves to stop your hands getting too messy. Then rest for 30 minutes. While it rests, cook 100 grams of onion in a dry pan. Add 100 grams of corn and warm it through. Then add 100 grams of tomato. Stir it. And finally throw in 50 grams of jalapenos. Once everything's heated, rest your chicken on top. Mix the ingredients through. Pour over 60 millilitres of lime juice, then allow everything to stew on a high heat for 1 hour. Remove your lid, give your ingredients a good stir, and stew again on a low heat for 1 more hour. Remove your chicken from the pan. Use a clean, sharp knife to slice your chicken into thin, manageable pieces. Then cut in the other direction to chop the pieces into small chunks. Once the chicken is broken up, stir it back into your pot of ingredients. Take a tortilla base and spread out some of your mixture down the centre, including plenty of vegetables. Spoon over some salsa, however spicy you like, and of course some guacamole. Then simply fold over your tortilla and plate it up with a few tacos to enjoy. For the second idea, take 200 grams of shrimp and season with 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper, 1 tablespoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of chili powder and 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. Stir and coat all the shrimp. Then place the shrimp on a pair of skewers, spreading them out like so. Once you've filled your skewer, brush on some olive oil. And place your shrimp onto a hot grill pan. Remember to turn your shrimp as it cooks to ensure both sides get cooked. For your dressing, mix 200 grams of sour cream, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, 1 teaspoon of lime zest, and 3 tablespoons of coriander. In another bowl, combine 50 grams of green cabbage, 20 grams of red cabbage, 2 tablespoons of jalapenos, and 3 tablespoons of your sour cream mix. Make sure to give everything a really good stir. Then lay out a tortilla, spoon out some of your cabbage mix. Top with a layer of shrimp, and then a good portion of sour cream mix on top of that. Garnish with fresh coriander, then just fold up your taco, grab a plate, and get stuck in. Lastly, in a blender, add 200 grams of avocado, 30 grams of coriander, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 100 milliliters of water. Pulse gently to create a smooth mixture. If it seems too thick, you can add a little more water and continue to pulse. Now in a bowl, stir 1 tablespoon of chili powder and cumin, 3 tablespoons of garlic, 2 tablespoons of oregano and lime juice, 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper. Lay 300 grams of steak on top and, using gloved hands, rub the mixture into the meat. It's full of flavour. Cover the bowl with cling film and leave to rest for 30 minutes. Heat up some oil in a grill pan and lay out your steak. You can cook the steak according to taste, but make sure both sides are browned. Once it's cooked to your liking, use a sharp knife to slice your steak thinly. As you can see, we've gone for a medium rare steak. quite pink in the middle. Now place a corn tortilla in a pan of hot oil and use some tongs to curl it as it cooks. By doing this, you create the famous crispy, crunchy, curly taco shell. Put some slices of steak inside. Top them with your favourite salsa and your homemade guacamole and serve up. This has a great texture and loads of flavour. Have you ever tried stir-fried chicken with holy basil? Let's make some now. Place a sieve over a bowl, add 400 grams of chicken liver and then pour over 500 millilitres of hot water. This will slightly poach the liver. Add 2 tablespoons of oil to a pan, then 2 tablespoons of minced garlic and the same of mashed fresh chilli. Combine the ingredients, and then once they're mixed, it's time to add in your liver. Stir thoroughly for a while. Then add 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of fish sauce and 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. This completes the mixture, which you need to continue to heat for a few more minutes. Finally, near the end of cooking, add a huge handful or 2 of fresh holy basil. It's very aromatic and adds a classic Thai flavour to this dish. Just look at that! This is really delicious stuff. Well done you! Now, don't forget to share it. A cubano is an iconic Cuban food truck sandwich prepared with roast pork and ham between layers of cheese and pickles. It is a perfect meal on the go. Cooking Company will take you step by step into preparing an ultimate Cuban sandwich at home, just like that. I hope you're ready. Start by adding 2 teaspoons of yeast to 200 millilitres of warm water. Then in another bowl, mix 200 grams of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of sugar. Then pour in your yeast water and use your hands to knead everything together. This is messy and might take a while, but stick with it. Sprinkle flour on a board, then roll out your bread dough until it's smooth and even. Pour 2 tablespoons of olive oil into a bowl and coat the sides. Pop your dough inside, seal it up with cling film, and let that sit for 1 hour. Then remove the film and take the dough back to a floured board. Roll it out into a long sausage-like shape. Place the dough on a lined baking tin. Sprinkle with some more flour and cover with cloth and allow to sit for 30 minutes. Remove the cloth and use a sharp knife to score the bread dough at regular intervals. Dust with more flour. Then it's time to bake at 200 degrees for 20 minutes. While it's baking, mix 2 tablespoons of garlic, 1 tablespoon of pepper, salt and cumin, and 2 tablespoons of oregano in a small bowl. Then add 100 milliliters of lime juice and orange juice and 2 tablespoons of lime zest and stir together well. Add 3 tablespoons of thyme and rosemary and 3 bay leaves and stir again. Now, add a few good-sized chunks of pork to your marinade. Cover it up with cling film and allow it to sit for 2 hours. Then it's time to bake at 150 degrees for 4 hours. Wow, look at it go! Take your freshly baked baguette and carefully trim off both ends of the bread. First one, and then the other. Once you've done that, cut it into 2 smaller pieces. Turn the half onto its end and carefully cut down the centre so that you have 2 even sides for your sandwich. Using a really sharp bread knife will make this part much easier. Now, coat both sides of your bread with plenty of butter. Once they're coated, fry them, butter side down, for several minutes. Keep cooking until the bread turns golden brown, like so. Remove them from the pan and spread on plenty of your favourite mustard. Lay out some pickled cucumber, plenty of ham, and of course a generous portion of your cooked pork. Add your favourite cheese, and then of course the remaining half of your baguette. Butter your pan again, and sit your sandwich inside. Press down on the sandwich with something heavy to help everything cook. Brush some more butter on top and then turn the sandwich over. Easy does it. Keep cooking for a few more minutes, pressing down all the while. When it's done, it's time to remove from the pan and slice up your sandwich. I've gone for a diagonal cut. Time to serve up and impress your loved ones with a homemade Cubano. Enjoy! Introducing Camembert Hedgehog Bread, a cheesy share and tear fondue creation made with a loaf of ciabatta bread, camembert cheese, garlic, rosemary, olive oil, salt, and some black pepper. A must-have dish for dinner parties, get-togethers, or even during game nights. Your guests won't be prepared for this incredibly simple treat. Simply take a loaf of ciabatta bread, place some camembert on top, and use a sharp knife to cut out a recess the same size and shape so that your cheese can fit nicely inside. Now cut a neat grid pattern into the bread, about halfway down the loaf. Carefully remove one of the flat crusts from your cheese so that it can be easily dipped. In a bowl, mix 2 tablespoons of garlic, 2 tablespoons of rosemary, 100 ml of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper. Firmly place your cheese into its new home. Now drizzle the oil all over the bread, using a spoon to put some inside the seams of your sliced edges. Time to bake. It'll need just 20 minutes at 160 degrees. When it's ready, you don't even need cutlery. Just tear off a chunk of bread, dip in the camembert, and sigh in delight. Here's a recipe for a savoury fried pie that boasts a buttery pie crust which can be filled with chicken, beef, veggies and more, and then deep fried to perfection. Fried chicken pot pie. This is easy to make and is a popular dish among chicken lovers. Start with 100 grams of butter melted in a deep pan. Throw in 200 grams of chopped up chicken and keep stirring until the meat is cooked. Add some chopped onion, soften it up. Then add 20 grams of chopped carrots and garden peas. Cook for a while longer, and then you can start to season with the usual salt and pepper. Like so. Give everything another good stir. Now time to add in 30 grams of flour. Stir this thoroughly through the pan mixture. Pour over 100 millilitres of milk and combine everything. Spoon your mixture into the bottom of a baking dish, flattening and spreading out the mixture as you go. Once it's flat, refrigerate for 30 minutes. Once chilled, spoon the mixture out. Coat it well in flour. Press into a disc shape like this, then coat in egg mixture and some breadcrumbs. To cook them, simply submerge in hot oil and cook, turning them over after a few minutes until the breadcrumbs are golden brown and look delicious. Remove from the oil carefully and serve up with some favourite veggies and enjoy biting into these creamy chicken bites.